All right, looks like we are live. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing, so I'll give everybody an opportunity to kind of join the chat. So just sit tight and all right, looks like we are live. 5-10 minutes. This is kind of a spur of the moment thing, so I'll give everybody an opportunity to kind of join the chat. So just sit tight and all right, looks like we are. Sorry about that echo. What's up, Queen? So today we're really just going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about in the chat. If you ask me, I want to focus on kind of theorizing whether or not Nancy was lured out. You know, maybe he does have a jammer. So if he has a jammer, he could be disrupting whatever Nancy's looking at. Like she's trying to look on her phone and it's just a blur. She's like, what the hell is going on with my cameras? It says somebody's out there, but when I look, it's all blurry. He knows that because he's a seasoned burglar, perhaps, or he's tested it out on the same camera. But this right here might be being captured by the hardware or the camera itself and being sent to Google. So I think right here, what he's doing, knowing that, with that knowledge, right? He's luring her out with the flowers. Right, hear me out. Let's play this video. I think I got this from News Nation. It was shared maybe by a neighbor. I'm not quite sure. Somebody walked up and filmed. Okay, now you see that little metal piece there? That's part of the Nest, the Google Nest camera. It comes in the box. But one thing I'm noticing is that it's not hardwired. So if you're a crook and you have a Wi-Fi jammer, first thing you're thinking is, wow, this is going to be easy. The camera's not hardwired into anything. So she must have it synced with her Wi-Fi router. That way she can just access the Google Home app and view whatever's kind of streaming on the Nest camera. She's not using it as a doorbell. She already has a doorbell right here, which is hardwired. So that must mean that she has a battery or she's plugging it in somewhere. I don't see an outlet unless that's what that is there. Or if she somehow has it wired inside to an outlet, I doubt it. So it must be a battery. I mean, how do we explain that? What's going on with the camera? Why do they believe that they're using a jammer, but at the same time we have crystal clear footage? I think that has a lot to do with this original image. Remember this one? Right. This might be the first thing Nancy might have seen live, right? She hears her phone, it goes off. She's like, oh, there's a notification. She looks up. This is not what she sees. If she would have been a little bit quicker, maybe. But instead, she sees a bunch of fuzziness. Here, you guys have probably seen this circulating on X. Here, let me play this. Notice they have this big backpack, too.
This doorbell camera video shows what Bel Air, Texas police say are skilled thieves.
Notice the bag. It's like it's a tool. It's all stuffed. Like, what's going on with this bag here? And she's kind of using it, waving it around like a tool. Right? She's going to disrupt the Wi-Fi signal with it.
Approaching a suburban home, but look what happens as they get closer. The cameras.
See, so this is probably something that Nancy's seeing. Like, she's like, what the hell is this? And the crook knows that. So he knows everything's kind of fuzzy right here, that she can't see anything. So he's just kind of walking around freely. He's like, all right, she can't see me. We're jamming her signal. Let's see, what can we do? So he's taking these flowers. He's going to use these flowers to cover the camera. I think maybe just go hide over here in the bushes. Right. Let's back up. So he's hiding in the darkness, completely all in black, ski mask. He's just right there, not far. He waits there maybe like, what was it, 15 minutes? What was it, 147 and 2 what? So it was almost like 45 minutes or 30 minutes or something that separates, I think, the blurry image from the clear video. I think that's my opinion. So he comes up, Wi-Fi jammer, distorting all, the video that's being sent to Nancy's phone, covers the phone in the flowers, walks away, turns the jammer off, waits 20, 30 minutes. Nancy comes outside. She's kind of looked out all the windows. She doesn't see anything, turns on her lights, walks outside to remove the flowers. She's like, what the fuck is this? She's like, flowers? And as she's taking off the flowers, she gets bonked in the head. Right here, he comes running up just like the camera is. That's what the blood's from. So this looks like about like a medium velocity blood stain or blood pattern. And then the dripping from that wound. What's really scary about this one right here is it looks like a bullet wound. It looks like like something high velocity. Boom. But why would it be going directly down? So she must have fallen right there. Or that's where he hit her. Boom, somehow. Or he hit her and then she hit the floor again. And then he picked her up and kind of scooped her away. But that's the story that this blood right here is telling me. She comes out. She's like, what the hell's going on out here? She's like, what the hell is this? So she's kind of standing right here by the front door. She's confident that, nobody's there. She's not quite sure what it is. Because all it really was a bunch of fuzzy, pixelation from the jammer. Like this.
Starts to glitch and the picture warps, all because police say the thieves are using a jammer, a small device that disables a home's Wi-Fi. It's something security systems.
So after he does that, covers the camera, and this will be what lures her out. He waits patiently. 30 minutes, he doesn't even move. He's just in the shadows wearing a ski mask. Waiting. Boom, he hears the door open, and then Nancy comes walking out. I don't know if that's painting the picture of what I'm trying to describe. Here, let's try this. So I think she would be standing right here. And this would be her back kind of to us. And she's kind of removing the flowers, and that's why they're on the ground right there. So she removes them, and she's thinking, what the hell's going on? By the time she even finishes that thought, bam, she's whacked with something. Right here. Look, this is not just dripping. This is like a medium velocity to a high velocity impact. Similar to a gunshot wound. Let's go to the chat. Tanner Price says, no. Landerson, no, she did not go to the door. No way. Why not? Like, what makes you think that? Look at the evidence here. Like, what can account for what we're seeing here? There's no forced entry from what I know. A lot of people talk about the back door, but that's not confirmed. Why do they think there's a jammer involved? I think that Google has returned some things from the camera, and it's just a big blurry glitch. Same thing with a couple neighbors who were in range. And think about it. The camera engages, or the first notification is at about 147. And then I think somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes go by. That's the right amount of time for Nancy to be like, okay, I'm going to go check this out. Like, something's up. It says here I have a notification, but when I go to my camera, it's like distorted. I wonder what's going on with my camera. Like, it almost looks like there's a bird or something sitting on it. So that's when she walks outside, turns her back, starts removing whatever it is, the flowers. And you can actually see those flowers right here. See them? I don't know what they are. They kind of look like cosmos from here. TJ Wheeler says, "You are so far off, dude." I am, but we're just brainstorming here, man. That means we're so far off. But this is what the blood and what everything's telling me right here. If they're looking at jammers, and from what I see from the blood pattern evidence, something happened right there. There was an impact. High to medium velocity, in my opinion. Brian Enton says her house has one bar. He goes away from the house to do his videos. What's up, Sparky? She never went to the door. Savannah said that she was taken from her bed. Well, she said that in like a plea to the killer. And honestly, Savannah shouldn't really know what happened. Well, I don't think law enforcement, if they're doing their job, she shouldn't know. If there's one thing that we should learn from true crime, is that the family really doesn't know a whole lot. Like, we try to grasp onto any pieces of information that help our theories. But one thing we have to remember, hindsight is 2020. And if you look back, right, with the Delphi murders, Kelsey had all this information. They were doing special DNA testing. Well, hindsight tells us that they didn't even have DNA of the killer. So honestly, and no disrespect to Savannah, it really, and she didn't come out and say that directly. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a known fact. We can't hang on that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. TJ says she was taken from the bed, the sheet was taken, and blood was in the house. Where do you get that information? The closest I have to anything as proof that there was anything going on in the house is this image here. And I can't tell if it's blood or not. And this appears to be this room here. Let me see if I have it. Right, no forced entry. So, I mean, I don't see any blood in there. Looks like there could be something spilled here. I can't quite tell what this is. It could be blood. But there's no proof that the guy broke in and took her. And if you have anything, I'll put it up on the screen. You know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, well, she came in. I remember Savannah saying that she was taken from her bed. That doesn't mean the kidnapper broke in, picked her up out of bed, and snatched her. What it means is she was most likely sleeping. It was 3 a.m., right? Miss North's musing. Savannah definitely knows her mother was taken from her bed. She had high-level security, and the feds talked to her. She was told that. See, I know you assume that, but what makes you believe that? Shauna says, I want to know why we have not been talking about the backdoor camera and the other Muslim looking dude disguised as a cartel looking son of a bitch. Who are we talking about, Shauna? Nefertiti's, what up? She would have had heard the alerts unless she slept with the phone on vibrate. That's what I'm thinking. She could have maybe got him the second or third time. So, for instance, the killer walks up. He's got the jammer. This wouldn't be what Nancy's seeing. She would be seeing like a fuzzy screen. This was recovered from Google. Right. Her Wi-Fi would be distorted right now. So he's kind of seems a little bit like nonchalant, especially like right here when he's kind of looking around. He's like, I'm not worried about anything. I've used the jammer before. I've tested it out. I'm not worried at all. Now I'll cover the camera with these flowers. Nancy would be missing the notifications right here, right? She's sleeping. Her phone's going off. Bzz, bzz. Nothing. The masked man goes and hides in the bushes or somewhere in the shadows because he's black, all clad from head to toe black. Covers it with these flowers or whatever, turns off the jammer and just waits. Nancy's phone keeps going off, buzzing. Bzz. She looks at it. She's like, what the hell is this? She's like, oh, I'm going to check my camera. Checks it. Boom. And this is what she's seeing right here. Right. This would be it. She's like, what the hell is this? I'm going to go check it out. No big deal, right? There's not a masked man ready to jump out of the bushes and snatch me. The hell's going on with my cameras? Walks out the front door, and the masked man comes around the corner. The blood tells me he smacked her right there. Like, it's not quite that of a gunshot, but look at, you can see the velocity. Look, I even thought this looks like a shoe print. What do you guys think? Look at that design. It almost looks like he stepped in a drop of blood and then took a step and left an imprint right here. Kind of has like this squiggly like design. Could be pareidolia. That's why the water sprinkler is broken. Yeah, we have covered a lot of cases where killers, kidnappers, whatever you want to call them, they do like to make noise or create some type of an event that draws their target out. Like they'll cut the power or they'll make a noise downstairs. You guys remember the Scream murders where those two boys killed their classmates? They cut the power and they started kind of throwing objects downstairs, making like a whole lot of noise. Try to draw her downstairs. It didn't work. It just scared her, and they went upstairs eventually. But I think looking at the physical evidence here, I think that she was lured. I think she came out to clear the debris off her camera and they hit her with something. And I know it's awful to look at the blood, especially if you're family members, but this blood is telling us a story. And I'm not qualified to tell that story. But just looking at it, I mean, we can tell that this is high velocity with dripping following it. Usually with high velocity, you need a high velocity weapon or like a high impact. But what would cause an impact directly down to the ground? And I don't know if hitting your head, falling straight down, I don't know if that would cause that kind of a splat. Unless you were hit and then it caused an open wound and maybe some puddling. And then you smacked your head right on top of where it was already opened. Just trying to figure out, maybe some of you homicide detectives, forensic people can kind of chime in the chat or in the comment section. Like, what is this? This is obviously, to me, this looks like a gunshot wound. But that's just my amateur opinion. She probably woke up, heard that fool out there, went out to be. No, this is what she saw. Look. Oh, I think I closed it here. Sorry about that. No, I think this is what she saw when she finally woke up at like 2:40ish. I think this is what she saw. She went to check like the replay and it was just like some weird static from the jammer. That's why he's kind of walking around like he doesn't care. But somehow the way that the camera was hardwired, I'm not quite sure how that all works. But Google was able to get a better version of it. Or just get their hands on it in general. The one that wouldn't be distorted through the Wi-Fi. So anything coming through that Wi-Fi would be distorted. So she goes to check her camera, right? He leaves. She wakes up 30, 40 minutes later, checks her phone. She's like, what the freak is that? What the hell's going on with my camera? She kind of looks around, doesn't see anything. Because the dude is like looking like a ninja, right? He's hiding. This is part of his plan. Law enforcement think it's possible he used a jammer. That's why he seems so confident. Like maybe he's not acting amateurish by kind of pulling these bushes. He knows that that'll work. All he needs to do is kind of block the camera a little bit. It'll be enough to draw her out. She's going to come to inspect, to investigate. That's when he comes out of the shadows from somewhere, like from this distance. She has her back turned, creeps up, and then hits her right there. And now we have the blood evidence, I think, that proves that. Like, you could say that he dropped her maybe, but this, I don't know what that is. I don't like the looks of that. But honestly, I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to blood splatter analysis, but this is definitely high velocity, followed by what appears to be large drops. And then a trail leaving. Porch guy was clean up after deed was done. No woman but Annie Oakley would do that. Why are we just hearing about the possibility of jammers and Wi-Fi interference? Monty, these investigations take forever, man. Man, they got to interview people, they got to re-interview people. So information that they thought they had maybe like the first 2 weeks, witnesses and people are coming back and saying, "Hey, you remember when I told you about this? It was actually this." Or, "Remember I told you it was 2? Well, actually it was none." So now they got to redo everything, go back. So it's like this constant back and forth, you know. Okay, now we got to go re-interview these people. All right, now we got to go test this. And then now, even though it's something they probably knew early on, like, hey, it was most likely this, that's just not how it works for them. Like, everything is like snail mail. It has to be something that can be presented at a trial. Everything that they do is through that lens. That's why I think that's why social media and alternative media is a huge deal. Like, the collective, right? Not just one channel, not just one amateur sleuth, like all of us, right? All of us together collectively. If we can work together to generate a good tip, like, that would be huge. And we don't have to wait for any of that, right? We just use the First Amendment and we use the Constitution to do what we want to do because we're Americans. If we want to solve a mystery, God damn it, we're going to go solve a mystery. But police, they don't have that right. They have all this bureaucratic red tape, and they have to have verifiable information, something that they can wave around in a courtroom, show a jury, have a judge sign off on, and have a defense attorney kind of scared about, right, in the discovery, asking for extension after extension after extension and coming up with all kinds of stupid third-party suspect bullshit theories. That's what you want. But we don't have to worry about that. We can break things down. We can be wrong. We can be right. So we should be doing our best to generate like a legitimate tip. See that? Here, let me clear this off. I think this tells you something about the direction, right? What do they call that? Is that a satellite? I don't know if that's a satellite or a spear. I think it's a satellite. So this should tell you a lot about movement. Here's a couple more here. So you notice how the drops kind of change shape. It almost looks like she went that way to the left. You see that? Yeah, if you ask me, they took her that way, or momentarily she was jerked in that direction. Because you have like all the big droplets. And then in this outer area closer towards the stairs, they kind of change shape. They become elongated. If you ask me, that kind of tells me that she was moving right at about that point. Or at least the droplets were. See that one right there? Maybe she was unconscious when TC brought her home, bleeding from her arm. When TC, oh, who's that? Tommaso? No, because he took her through the garage. Remember, the garage opened. 3 minutes later, it closes around 9 p.m. What's up, Boston? Leanne, on the video of the cars going by 2.5 miles from the house, was it Challenger in that video? I think. I don't know. I can't tell. I've studied that. It's really hard to tell what the hell is in that. It even looks like Carlos's vehicle might be one of those vehicles. Abuelita's journey. I believe they took the doorbell camera after they were done. That's why the backpack is full. Well, the camera's small. It's like a tiny camera. It could fit in your pocket. Look, they have this bulky bag. What the hell? It's very similar to what was going on with Nancy. And notice how they're kind of holding it up like they it's going to do. Right? By the time you get to your phone, this is what you're seeing. You're like, what the hell? Yeah, that's crazy. So he knows she can't see anything. So I'm pretty sure those ones indicate movement. And there's like a ton of these little tiny droplets. The only thing that could cause that, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, is like something high, medium to high velocity. Something that could like separate, I don't know how you would like the molecules of the blood. Like what could separate the blood like that? I don't know if maybe like a hard weapon, like a stick or something. Maybe the back of a gun. Or just falling. If you were, let's say you were punched. Look, what if somebody punched you in the face and then you fell right on your bloody face? I wonder if it would spray like that. Maybe just using your fist. But whatever this was directed down at the ground directly. The only thing that kind of reminds me of, and I'm not trying to accuse anybody here, right? This is not an accusation. We're just looking at what we have. First thing that stood out to me was like a swollen hand right here. Could that be from punching somebody? I don't know. I just don't understand why the blood is going directly down to the ground. Unless she coughed. I wonder if this is kind of maybe she could be coughing up blood. Punched in the mouth, boom. Or in the nose. Mouth fills up with blood. You fall down on your hands and knees and you cough, and then that just kind of splashes on the ground, and then the guy picks you up over his shoulder. And then you kind of see the rest of these droplets going in that direction. To me, this looks like a shoe print. See if I can get a really clear one. Doesn't it? That looks like a footprint. Yeah, right here it does. It almost appears like it starts right here. Look, the waviness. It looks like the back, maybe the back of a shoe. It almost even appears to cut off this other droplet of blood. But this other droplet would have had to fall in after he stepped, which could be, pointing towards when he picked her up. So he punches her in the face, boom, picks her up over his shoulder. She coughs up the blood while kind of dangling over his shoulder. She coughs, clears her throat. And then he begins to carry her in this direction. Leaves a footprint, right? Where was that? Right there. Maybe. I don't know. Can't quite tell. Looks like a design to me. It's like very squiggly. And then it kind of continues on up here. So very strange. What's up, Carol? Brian's ramblings. What's up, Brian? He has not been busted. Yeah, he hasn't been busted. He hasn't been identified. We don't even know if it's he or a she. It could be multiple people. Nancy had hearing aids or not in her ears. She didn't hear anything. Check your email for colored pics. Okay, I will. I think I already got those. Did you send them earlier? Yeah, I was checking them out. What was that? AI? I honestly, I tend to avoid AI stuff when it comes to images. They walked right in with the master key FBI bumper. I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence of that, Shauna. Debbie, welcome in. I looked at the Scorched website today and couldn't find any photos of the Tucson fetish ball. Yeah, here, I have it linked. I'll share it with you. I have it bookmarked. It's titled Dark Sonora. Yeah, go look up Dark Sonora. That's probably the easiest way to find it. That's another way they kind of list it. Shoe print was from Amazon guy. Could be, yeah. Do you have anything that states that? Send that to me. Punching sunflowers. That way we can kind of debunk it. Why wasn't the rubber mat taken for testing? That's a good question. Welcome in, Liberty. Yeah, he might be pretty slick. Lured to the front because It could be seen from the back by neighbors' cameras. I'm just really going off of the evidence, right? So you have the kidnapper, and I don't see anything really going on over here in the rocks. I don't know what all this black stuff is. But to me, if we're just looking at the evidence, right, the camera, what we're learning about these jammers, and the physical evidence, the blood.
2027. Can I just start for a bunch of 961 blocking northbound 101 at 42?
Right, we don't see any busted windows. We don't see any forced entry. But we do have this huge puddle of blood and a bunch of these flowers that he was using to cover the camera. To me, it's like it's telling me a story that Nancy was lured out. Right, the huge time gap, 147 from when her camera initiates the first motion, senses motion for the first time, 147-ish. And then it doesn't actually capture this individual until later, much later, 30 to 45 minutes later. And we don't see any blood in any of those. So I think he could have waited. Nancy comes out to clear the camera or to just investigate. And when she turns her back right here, he attacks her with something. Something that caused a high velocity blood stain pattern. Look, you can see the cast off right here. All of it. Is that her hitting the ground? Either way, it's consistent with like some kind of an ambush attack. Grunge, what up? Missy D, what up? I heard the neighbor heard TC yelling a lot the week before, and he would be involved in something happened to Nancy. Where did he say that, Missy? Like I said, I'll put anything up on the screen as long as we can verify it. I think that's proven, Grunge. I think that was part of her medication, on her list of medications. Why would they send homicide out for such a small amount of blood? To do the analysis. They're trained in that, in forensics. So they call them out, homicide detectives. Hey, what do we got here? Is this consistent with a homicide? They might say, well, inconclusive. Could be, maybe not. It really isn't a whole lot of blood. It's just the velocity that's kind of alarming. Thank you, Curious. Monty. Oh, what are you guys talking about? That lady that walked up on a private property and says no trespassing signs? Yeah, who was that lady? Hopefully she got some good footage. Hopefully it was worth it. It is coughed up blood. You can see the aspiration in it. Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like to me. And why would it be right there pointing at the ground, right? To me, it's like she's over his shoulder. He hit her in the face. Boom. Probably enough to hurt his hand. So why? And like I said, I'm not trying to accuse anybody, right? Mr. Lawyers out there, Mr. Lawyer Man. Hypothetically speaking, and I know that's still not enough, I am not trying to accuse anybody. I'm just asking the question, right? This man was being questioned about his involvement. I didn't include him. I'm asking. He's giving an interview. Why is his hand all swollen? Why does he have a damaged vehicle and a brand new vehicle shortly after Nancy disappears? And if you look at the physical evidence, it almost looks like Nancy was punched in the face and then draped over the back or over somebody's shoulder. She's leaking blood and then boom, she coughs right there. Right? I got to clear my throat. This fucking asshole just smashed my nose in. Right? Hey, Nancy. She turns around, smack. It really wouldn't take much. You know, from somebody like a Luke or somebody that, you know, the person that we see on that camera. So yeah, she drops and it looks like he picks her up and drapes her over their, you know, his shoulder and carries her out, but it looks like they go left. In this footage, he appears to be looking right. Right? So I don't know if he's just looking up the street to see if cops are coming, but for a moment here, he appears to glance over. But for me, the blood says they're going in the opposite direction, this way. Yeah, something like a sneeze, most likely a cough, right? I don't know if you've ever been punched in the nose, a song, but your mouth can fill up with blood and it makes it hard to breathe. And sometimes you start to choke on it. Looks like my coffee grinds in the morning when I miss the trash can. All those little black items. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I just thought it was the rocks or something. Not quite sure what it is. Never put up crime scene tape and had the house cleared. Yeah, that was very strange. A nose can really bleed, especially if you're on blood thinners. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be her nose either, Grunge. It could be like a really busted lip. I've had both. If you get a really cut lip, your mouth can fill up with blood too, or even the inside of your mouth, or especially a broken jaw. Like if you get hit in the jaw really hard, boom, and it cracks open, your whole mouth will fill up with blood. I've never broken my jaw, but a friend of mine, that happened. And also, did you guys see the Jake Paul fight when he got his jaw broken? His entire mouth was, you know, filled up with blood. Not to be gross, but CJK, what up? Aspiration, possibly. Once get home, I sweep my home for hidden killers. Then I am locked in till daybreak. Do a quick sweep of the house. 57 Vicky, what's up? Weird how those blood drops are almost evenly spaced in a circle. Yeah, so it's almost like she's being draped. So I don't know what he's doing. Why is he standing there like that? If she is hanging over his shoulder, why is he just kind of standing there? Or is he adjusting her? Like maybe he puts her over his shoulder or in a bag of some kind and then radios. Like, okay, I got her. Doesn't want to kind of step out right away. And then the car backs up. Then the kidnapper goes. But yeah, I feel like each droplet might represent like a second of time. You know what I mean? Maybe more. Maybe like every 4 or 5. KS, she probably attempted to protect herself and the dude punched her in the face. As I'm sure she was on blood thinners, probably dripping blood. Honestly, what I think happened after he covered the camera, she came out to investigate. And when she turned her back, he walked up on her and said, "Hey, Nancy." And she turned around. He punched her right in the face. She falls to the ground. He picks her up, puts her over his shoulder, and walks back out, I think, towards the driveway that leads to the garage door. That's what the blood's telling me. I wonder what the experts have to say about it. I'm sure if they can hit up the comment section, they can tell me where I'm wrong, where we got all that wrong about the blood. But that's what I'm seeing. Muffy Dragon Slayer. That's a cool name. Hello, new here. Welcome, welcome. Can anyone confirm that they have a picture of the perp's tattoo on his wrist? No. We spent some time on that photograph. I don't think you can verify it. We all thought it was part of a glove underneath. The majority of people believed it was part of a watch, and then just the way the camera was capturing the image. A bit of pareidolia. But yeah, I mean, you're welcome to your own opinion. And you can always prove me wrong. But we did spend some time on it early on. 2 windows on each side of the front door. Here, let's pull up some images of the home. Maybe we can make more sense of it. So yeah, he could have easily have been like hiding right here. Here's Nancy come out, and she's kind of fiddling. He kind of sneaks a peek around the corner, and then says, "Hey, Nancy." She turns around like, "What the fuck?" And then bam, picks her up. And I think he goes this way. He goes like in this direction. I don't know if he parked his car over here, if he came creeping through here, or maybe he even just parked in the front somewhere. But that's what the blood tells me, that he went in this direction towards the garage. Blood and spray bottle. Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what high velocity blood, I think it's splatter, looks like. Jammer would have messed up her Bluetooth. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to zoom down here to the chat. Sorry if I missed your comments. If you need to retype them, go ahead. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning. Or to the end, I guess. Okay, here we go. Reza Joe, I couldn't walk my grandmother from the car into the house, through the garage in 3 minutes, just saying. Well, no, you're not walking her all the way in. You're just kind of walking her into the door. She goes in. She's like, "All right, thank you." Shuts the door. You walk out, and then she closes the garage. Three minutes. So right when you pull up, you hit the clicker. It's already a minute and a half, by the time you get her out of the car. I think she had some disabilities, some ailments. It's almost like they knew from the beginning who did it. Yeah, they might know. They might have a clue. But if they can't prove it in court, there's nothing that they can do publicly. I just think if people were tweaked out, yeah, that's true, Sue. They might have some kind of weird fantasy going on that's not really in touch with reality. Might be paranoid. Like that sicko that got busted in Utah. Ivan. MAB, what up? What up? looks like when I'm applying bed liner with the spray gun. That is what it looks like. It looks like somebody sprayed it. You know, and it takes velocity to separate the blood like that, I would think. Blood's pretty sticky, I think. It's kind of thick. So in order to have it kind of spread out like that, something's got to be separating it. Did you notice the blood was on top of some of the flower buds on the front porch? No, I didn't. That would kind of go along with this crazy theory that I'm talking about. Right? She came out, removed the flowers, and then somebody just said, "Hey, Nancy." She turned around and got bonked in the head or punched in the face. Well, this one right here is on top of the blood. That one I can't really tell. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. All right, this will be our 5-minute warning. What do you guys think about? Does this look like a footprint to you, or is this just some more of that pareidolia playing tricks? Look at that. And it's kind of like rounded on the end, so that might be what's playing with my mind. And then up here, you kind of still have more of the like squiggly line. It even almost looks like almost like a brace. I wonder if Nancy was wearing like a wrist brace. It almost looks like something like that. Maybe at one point she was on her hands and knees. She gets hit, and right here she's on her hands and knees. She coughs up the blood right here, and then he picks her up. So I don't know if it's a shoe print. I think right now maybe we can call it a print. But this is kind of consistent with like more the size of a wrist, a really skinny wrist, something wrapped around a skinny wrist. But I don't know. Let me see if I can find an image of Nancy. Maybe she does have something on her wrist. Let's see. No, she has a watch. Brian, the sheriff. I see some people pointing the finger at the sheriff. After seeing that stuff about James Burke and his involvement with the Lisk, the Long Island serial killer murders, whew, man, you just never really know. Imagine somebody possibly involved with serial killings is in charge of an entire investigation. How brilliant is that? Right? Turn everything away from the FBI. Like, nope, we're not going to follow that angle. We're going in this direction. You know, keep it from going towards your friends and your pals. What's up, Judy? Welcome in, VV, Judy, Laura Mint. Let's see. Let's go to Sparky. This case will go down as one crazy Netflix movie. It has everything for a bizarre case, right? It has the creepy video of the masked man. It has the high profile victim, Nancy. And there's this mystery. Like, is she even still alive? Was there ever even a ransom? Or was she murdered, taken somewhere, and then a bunch of people who had knowledge of it just began trying to capitalize on that? Like, I get this weird group involvement going on here. That's why it took me down that crazy fetish theory, because I feel like they could have done something like this. And I'm not saying people that are involved in that stuff, like Satanism and, BDSM, I'm not saying that those type of people are prone to violence or psychotic tendencies. I'm just saying the group of people who kidnapped Nancy, they may be connected through that community. That the evidence does point there. Why would they do this? I don't know. Normal people, I don't think, can answer that question. Right? Murder is dumb. Kidnapping is dumb. Whoever did this is motivated by something really stupid. So no matter how smart they might be technically, they're still fucking retarded for doing something like this. Like, why would you disrupt somebody's life like that? Like, how could you be so cold-blooded to do something like that? Like, what is going on with this person that they could do this, right? It's almost like it's got a group feel to it. The thrill of it. Like, we don't care. We just want to create chaos. If we can get a ransom out of it, good. If not, F this bitch. We're still going to, do these horrible things to her. She won the lottery. She won the true crime lottery. How scary is that? I don't want to win that lottery. And remember, the Second Amendment can't be disrupted by any Wi-Fi jammers. So don't forget that. And your ears still work, right? You hear something crazy out back, go ahead and grab old Bessie. She'll never let you down. Just make sure you verify what she's yelling at. We don't know if she was taken from her bed, Charity. I don't know that. I know that Savannah mentioned that. But I can't include that in, this picture I'm trying to create in my mind of what actually happened. Because to me, it's not verified. Is it likely? Yes, probably. But I don't see any evidence of it. There's no forced entry. And everything that this masked man is doing is telling me that he's luring Nancy out. And the blood evidence here tells me that she was struck right there. She was attacked on her porch. Why would she come out like that? Well, because she lives in a really nice neighborhood and this is what she saw. She doesn't know what the hell this is. Right? Let me check what's going on outside. Right? Click my camera. What the hell is this? She walks out front, opens her door, turns around, and some crazy psycho comes running out from the darkness and bam. She was attacked right here. That's not pointing at like a forced entry. And it also explains like the timeline. Like, what the hell was this guy doing here so long? Well, he was laying in wait, possibly, right? With this theory. This is just a hypothetical brainstorm. Just kind of giving you my thoughts on the physical evidence. Damn Kayaker says Savannah knows who did it. Maybe she does know, and she's just trying to hang on to the possibility that she can recover her mom. Punched her and went back in. It doesn't look that way. The blood says they went back out, but this blood I don't know if there's a trail inside. I haven't heard that. I know that from what I've seen, the trail begins right here. And it's right next to, all of these little flowers. And why was he covering the camera to begin with? He wasn't trying to hide. He had his jammer. That's why he's walking around. He's picking up flowers. He's literally stopping to smell the roses. Literally. He's not in a rush. He's kind of looking up the street. I have no problems. I have this jammer here. I'm aware just by basic knowledge, right? Look, just by looking at her camera, you can tell right now that it's not hardwired. It's not. Because Nancy has her doorbell hardwired. She's not using this as a doorbell. It's just simply, I think, to see who's at the front door. Who's at my front door? Do I have a package? That's it. She has no worries, no need for security, right? I've lived here for forever, since the 70s. Well, the masked man is counting on that. He's counting on using the jammer to confuse her, right? The technology, way over her head. She won't see it coming. Lure her out with the flowers. As soon as she comes out to clear her camera, that's when he attacks. And I think he just grabbed her right there and left. May have radioed for her, his partner to pull into the driveway. And that could be why they went in that direction. All right, we'll do a couple more comments and then we're going to get out of here. Winds blew some of the leaves and foliage on top of the blood spots. That's what it looks like. What is a big woman? That is a big woman, really. No, she weighed 150 pounds. Oh, sorry. Savannah says, did you notice some of the blood droppings are on top of the... Oh, yeah. Didn't we already read that? Are you guys repeating some of your comments?
27 in the blind, 96 are you towing?
Oh, quick microphone check. Can you guys hear the scanner in the background?
He's reporting a dark gray SUV that's driving without lights on, not responding to the RPA that's flashing their lights at them. Because
I know a lot of you have been kind of looking towards Phoenix as a possible location that Nancy was taken. I've been getting some emails. So I've been leaving my scanner up. If you guys want, we can run it. We can leave it running or we can play it in the background. Thank you, Lori. Colleen, appreciate that.
2020, 20.
There was blood inside for sure. How do we know, Hazel? I would like to know that for sure. If you have any information on that, feel free. If you guys have any information that can help kind of clarify fact from fiction, send it to me. Go to my website, sleuthintuition.com, and just hit the contact button. I get them all. I read them all. I may not get back to you guys, but everything that I see that I think personally is important, we talk about it here. So you might see something that you brought up to me, brought up, on a later live. And if I don't give you credit, just be like, hey, that's, I sent you a message about that. And that'll help me remember who actually sent it to me. This is going to take the collective, all of us working together cohesively. Good to see you, Queen. Cindy, what up? Cindy Lean is in the building. Sparky, always good to see you. Thanks for holding it down. MAB, good to see you again. Everybody else, that is going to do it for today's quick little open discussion. Tomorrow, we're going to dive deeper into all of this. And we're going to try to reverse this. Why would they target Nancy? Who is this man? Who is this masked man? What are his likes? What are his desires? What kind of man would target Nancy and do the things that he's done so far? So we'll try to break it down. We'll start from the hard evidence and we'll work our way in reverse. Replay crew, sorry that we missed you, but we have mad love for you. We love the replay crew. We love you guys. But it's not our fault you missed the live stream, brah. Be better. Be quicker. I'm just kidding. But if you are part of the replay crew, hit up the comment section. Tell me what you think about what was talked about, the amateur analysis of the blood splatter, especially all of you experts out there, you homicide detectives, you CSI guys, retired or active. Let me know what we got right, what we could do better on. And if anybody wants to be a guest on the show, like I said, just reach me at sleuthintuition.com, hit the contact, and reach out to me. We can talk about it. Other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow around noon Arizona time. Be there or be square. Peace.